To other news of the day now, Las Cruces police are investigating a shooting that left a man in his 20s seriously injured this morning. According to the Las Cruces Police Department, a shots fired call came around 6 o'clock this morning when police arrived to an apartment on East Missouri and found the victim with at least one gunshot wound. Police say the victim was flown to an El Paso hospital with life-threatening injuries. Now, there's no suspect in custody at this time. However, this is an ongoing investigation. We'll keep you updated on air and online as soon as we learn more.
So I became paralyzed December 19 of 2019 when I was only 21. And I was set up by a female and two men and supposedly my friend. And when the medics carried my body to the ambulance and they asked me, was this a drug deal? I told them, no, I was just defending a friend who I thought was my friend. The female that was involved in my shooting, she got away with it, and her brother that shot me, he pleaded insanity, and so he's not doing real time.
You need to go to prison. You don't need to be laying no mental hospital. He need to go to prison, man. Come on, church. He want to play crazy. He wasn't crazy when he killed my son, man. He wasn't crazy then, but he crazy now. All of a sudden he crazy now. You want to lay in a mental hospital? You don't murder my son, man, for nothing. When he was trying to get away from you were trying to get away from you, man. And you kept shooting him while his back was under the truck. You kept shooting him, man. You kept shooting him. And his back was tight to you, man. He was trying to get away from you. And you murdered him, man, like that. You murdered him, man, like that.
And then the other guy, while our court was still pending, he killed two inmates, yet they said that I was a bad person. For the past 2 years, I was very depressed. I just slept all the time and just felt sorry for myself. And my father would tell me, what are you going to do with your life? And I'll be crying saying, I don't know, because I didn't know at that time, able to live my life paralyzed and to deal with what I just experienced. I felt betrayed because I ended up sticking up for somebody who I thought was my friend. He ended up taking the female side, including the people involved in my shooting, and supposedly he gave them the guns. And I only stood up for him because back then I used to think everybody was my friend, and there's always been arguments at the house and even threats towards him, and I just had enough and I told them, get the F out, I'm tired of you guys disrespect my friend. Long story short, they didn't like that. They came back and beat and shot me, and then they lied to court that I was the aggressor when I wasn't the one that snuck back in and beat and shoot them. So finding out that my friend betrayed me, and then also supposedly he was part of my shooting because I was shot with the 45 and they cannot find the 45, but yet my friend's gun that's a 45 is missing. So anyways, after all that, I felt really betrayed. I felt like I got paralyzed for nothing because back then I used to think everybody was my friend, and even though I was betrayed from a friend, I still try to give people a chance, but it's going to take time to try to reopen up. And because of my shooting from the home invasion, I'm afraid to open doors, and that's because the last time I heard a knock on the door, there was a rifle aiming at me. And also I'm afraid to leave the house because people make me paranoid because they don't know how to act right. And so when people knock on the door, I'm not going to open it for them. So when it's my family, they pretty much just had to stay out there.
Open the door. Open the door. Open the door.
And so they'll text me like, hey, it's me, can you unlock the door? And speaking of knocking on doors, I get very paranoid when people knock on the doors during Halloween, because my biggest fear is the people that shot me, they could dress up in a Halloween costume and they'll knock on the door and I open it and then a rifle is aiming at me again. And my dad's biggest fear is him opening the door and somebody asks him if his name is Joe and he says yes, and somebody shoots him since we have the same name. And the only reason why I'm kind of paranoid was because when my court was still pending, my attorney told me and my father that there was threats about me in prison, and find out that one of the people involved in my shooting killed two inmates. It just shows that they're really serious. So I'm just afraid that they're going to come out and finish the job, especially since they're barely doing any time, and the guy that shot me, they tried taking attempted murder off his record. But my mom told them if I'm going to be labeled as a paraplegic for the rest of my life, then they're going to be labeled as a murderer for the rest of their life. They'll be out actually in a couple years because, like I said, one of them pleaded insanity, and so he's not doing real time. He's in like the psych hospital or whatever. Then the other guy, he killed two inmates and they only gave him like 2 years for my case, but since he killed two inmates, he's not going to get out anytime soon, at least hopefully not. And the female that made the phone calls and set me up, she's not even locked up. And then also later finding out that she's also from Cali, that kind of made me very paranoid. So I'm always thinking, oh, she could just call somebody else and pretty much track where I'm at, which they have done. They've hired so many prior investigators to harass me and my family. Even to this day, we still get harassed from them. So that's why I get paranoid going out, because they know where we live, and they also know some of my family members' numbers.
I'm the type of girl you wanna chew all of my bubble gum. I'm the type of girl you wanna take to your mama. Hello?
Feeling alive?
I'm sorry?
And they'll call my dad, laugh and hang up, or play certain music of, you know, pretty much taunting that somebody got shot, but it is what it is. And speaking of leaving the house, people make me very paranoid when I do leave the house because some people don't know how to act right, which at the end of this video, I'll be leaving a link to this one video I did talking about PTSD and depression, and I told a little story about what happened to me when I went to Walmart. And the first year of being paralyzed, when I did try to go out and I was going around the block of my neighborhood, somebody stick their head out of their car and start yelling at me, and that really freaked me out. And my mom was like, it's alright, people don't know what I'm going through. And speaking of people that don't know how to act right, when I was in a gurney because I just had surgery and I had to do a follow-up appointment, I was in the waiting room and the nurse came out to call in a patient, and she was like, oh, he scared me, I thought he was a dead body. I understand she didn't mean that, but in my head that really got to me at that time, because at one point I was a dead body because I died when I was shot. And so that gave me flashbacks. So certain things that people do or say, it could really get to me. You know, I could try to move on, but I have no control over how my body reacts, and that's why it's called PTSD. Just like with noises, it makes me very paranoid, such as when I was at my brother's birthday party and balloons popped, that really freaked me out. And then it ended up popping again, so my mom had to take all the balloons off of the walls because it just kept popping. And speaking of noises, when I hear unfamiliar voices or hear people in the house that I'm unsure of, my sister will come in or my brother-in-law will come in and say, it's just me. It's because they know that I get very paranoid of like any noises or if I'm not sure who's in my environment, because I have to know my environment to feel safe. And so that's why I don't like to leave the house, because I have no control over my environment, and sometimes people could just pop out of nowhere and it'll freak me out. Even in the house, it freaks me out. Certain family members will just pop out of nowhere, like I'll be busy doing the dishes, or you know, I'm just in my mind and people just pop out of nowhere to ask me a question, and I get very jumpy. Also, this one time I was stretching on the floor and I looked up to the doorway and my little brother was just staring at me, and that freaked me out, especially since I'm very paranoid of doors. And so just seeing somebody in a doorway looking at me, that really scared me at that time. And also when I'm home alone and one of the dogs sneak in through the small doggy door, which I made plenty of videos about, I get very paranoid. I always think it's probably a burglar or the people involved in my shooting is pretty much trying to finish the job. And so instead of me just laying disabled and innocent on my bed waiting for somebody to shoot me, I go to investigate because I'm not trying to get shot in my sleep or laying down. And find out it was just my dog, it's a relief, because I was very scared, especially being paralyzed, because it's like, what am I going to do because I'm a crippled.
Paralyzed.
And speaking of little brother, I have two little brothers, and when I was first paralyzed, they barged in my room with their Nerf guns and was aiming at me, and that really got to me. It just gave me flashbacks of the home invasion. My dad had to tell him to like go over there. And speaking of flashbacks, certain movies, it also gives me flashbacks. Like when I was also first paralyzed and I was watching Gran Torino, and when the old man was aiming the gun at the Asian dude, I froze up and I was crying. You know, I couldn't move, I was frozen. And my mom had to tell my dad like, Joey, change the channel. And I'll be there eating my food all shaking and just in my emotions. And so when I do go out, I have high blood pressure, and some of you guys are probably wondering, well, how you know you have high blood pressure? Because I go to my appointments and they had to check my blood pressure and it'll be really high up, but when I get back home it'll be back to normal. And speaking of going out, when I'm in the car going to my appointments and I'll be sleeping and the music end up changing, I'll wake up and start yelling, and my dad will say, it's alright, and the person that's driving us saying, is he alright? And my dad was like, yeah, it's alright, the music just threw him off. And speaking of PTSD, I received a message a while ago saying, how do you have PTSD from getting shot one time? I was actually shot twice, but the first one hit my shoulder and grazed it, which left a mark, and then the second one, that's what hit my back and made me paralyzed. And I didn't get PTSD because I got shot. I got PTSD because two men barged in and didn't just beat and shoot me, they threw me on the bed, was gouging my eyes, and I tried to run away from them and they shot me, but yet they say it's self-defense. Anyways, I'll be showing you a clip of this other gunshot victim, and he'll be describing what's it like to have PTSD, and you'll be seeing in this clip he has his face covered up because he's very paranoid. So anyways, here's the clip.
Hey, what's up?
My name is D. I was shot late July 2021. I was only 19 years old. I'm 21 now. I was pretty much ambushed when I got shot by 3 people. One of them had a gun to my head, and I tried to turn around, grab my pistol for safety, but then they started shooting. The struggles I have with PTSD, as you can see, I have my face covered because I have PTSD for everything. I don't leave the house like that. I'm scared because I'm scared that one day someone's gonna see me and they're gonna try finishing the job. One of the people involved, they're gonna try finishing the job, and they're all out here. The cops don't do nothing because they think I was pretty much drug dealing to them and they were trying to rob me, but that is not what happened at all. I'm not afraid of opening doors because that has nothing to do with my crime. Yeah, I am afraid of people that are involved coming to finish the job. That's one thing that makes me afraid, because there's 3 of them and none of them are locked up because that's, like I mentioned, the cops think I was drug dealing to them, but that had nothing to do with this. No, they just said that they were gonna shoot me in my head if I didn't stop after I already shot a couple times. I don't really have trust issues, never did, but as you can say, like, people I don't know, it's gonna be hard for me to make friends with them, but after a while I could probably trust them. Nah, not really. I'm not afraid of making friends and dating, but like females, yeah, it's hard to trust them nowadays because they might try to set you up as well. But making friends, like, I just gotta know them. I gotta talk to them first before thinking like, oh, they're gonna be good for me. But yeah, but females, yeah, I don't know. I talked to someone like some girls I used to talk to before, like that helps me relax. Like the girls that were nice to me before, I go out like when I had appointments and stuff like that, or sometimes I get bored, so I just leave the house somewhere, leave out of town or something. Yeah, I get jumpy when I hear like a loud pop, like a bang kind of sounds like firework or something, thinking like, oh, they're shooting outside or something. Now, I'm not on meds. I can handle myself without using any meds or anything like that. I don't feel alone because I got family with me all the time. They always help me out a lot. My family always look out for each other. That's one thing that's good for me, is being around my family. It's been up and down. Sometimes everyone has their good days and bad days. Sam has been a little trippy about their good days and bad days, but sometimes you feel like you want to walk again, but sometimes like you just gotta accept it. But me, I'm not gonna lose faith. I'm not gonna keep losing faith. I'm gonna walk. Every day I'm gonna give my best to walk, and even if I'm on my deathbed, I'm still gonna wish I could walk again. Yeah, I do travel. Sometimes I travel alone. Sometimes I travel with family. No, I don't think about the past. I just try to think about my future going forward and just living in the present. I think I make peace no matter what. If I walk now, I'm gonna have peace. And I appreciate you, Joseph, for bringing me to this collab. Hope to talk to you soon. Yeah, just text me with anything. If you need help or anything, I'll always be here.
I understand what he means about not trusting females, because not just the female that set me up, but also the other previous females that I was with, they also try to set me up. And so I'm always thinking, being paralyzed, are they going to try to take advantage of me and hurt me? And D, he mentioned that he's paranoid to leave the house because he's afraid that those people that shot him was going to finish the job. And so when my court was pending, I was very afraid for my father, because I'm thinking, oh, since I'm testifying against them, they're going to try to kill me or my father. And so I always have dreams of like my father getting shot, and then just thinking if that did happen, then my whole family's going to blame me for it, because just taking care of me even now, it's a risk for them, especially since that female is out.
That bitch!
And it was really that serious that me and my father was supposed to get escorted to court, but luckily I had to do it on the phone since we live in different states. And I really wish that I was able to actually testify against them in person so they could see what they did to me.
I'm nothing but a goddamn cripple, a legless freak. Look at me. You see that? Do you know what it's like not to be able to use your legs?
So like I mentioned, we get harassed all the time. My dad's truck will be filled with sugar, and random people will be knocking on the door. My dad will get random phone calls.
Bueno.
I don't know who you are.
It's Juan.
I will find you.
It's not Juan.
People laughing and hanging up, and sometimes when they call, they'll be playing music, taunting that somebody got shot, and they'll hang up. And my dad told my attorney about all that. And so when random people call my phone, I don't answer it. I only answer people that's in my contacts. So anyways, of course I still have my own issues. Of course I'm always going to deal with PTSD. There's nothing I can really do with that, because like I said, I have no control over how my body reacts. Even though I could try move on and try accept the fact what happened, I have no control over how my body reacts. reacts. But the only thing I could tell you is I'm doing better now than I was about 3.5 years ago. And that's the thing that counts, it's baby steps. So some of my other goals is of course try to get out of the house. Even though I'm paranoid that the people could shoot me, they could shoot me, it's whatever, it is what it is, but I'm not going to let them try to ruin my life. I'm going to try to live a healthy and happy life, and if I get shot, so be it, we're all going to die sooner or later. And so I'm not going to let them try to affect my life and make me miserable and make me just feel down and depressed. Pretty much I don't want to play the victim.
We the victims, man. We the victims. That victim shit is way overblown.
What happened happened, and I just need to move on. And even though they laughed in court and was smiling at my parents when their son was recovering at the hospital, me being a content creator, you know, doing YouTube and TikTok is pretty much a slap in their face because they pretty much made me famous, because without them I wouldn't be T11. And just thinking of it, I feel like I came back for a reason to pretty much share my story and to help prevent this from happening to anybody else. Anyways, if you want to see my personal experience dating after spinal cord injury, and if you want to hear that story of that chick that threatened to flip my wheelchair, then you can click this video right here. And D, he mentioned that he's not on medications. First off, respect to you, because I know that it could be very hard for some of us. And so in this video, I talk about going out with PTSD and depression and the importance of medication. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.